I need to speak to the people. Let me speak. The people need to hear me. Hear me, hear me. Hey, how's it going? What do we gotta do today? Plant 6 crop seeds, clear 13 grass, cut down 2 trees. No one's visiting. Let's see if there's any chores I can do for Fletch. Let's chat. Got a job. Another blue moon butterfly in the desert. We'll start with the butterfly because that's fun. Anyways, I don't know how to start with this. I don't want to do this to y'all, but I gotta speak out. I gotta talk. I gotta do the thing that everyone hates a gaming commentator to do. I've gotta denounce Trump's actions. We're gonna start off with the pardons of like 1,500, most of the January 6th rioters. That's him saying that political violence, if it's for the sake of him, is okay, and it's actually encouraged, and you're not going to be federally charged for it on his watch. I'm hoping that state governments just lock them all up. I'm not usually a lock them all up guy. I don't really like the government, but like, they committed treason, insurrection, one or the other, and for the president to continue to endorse that. And okay, hear me out, we're going on a little bit of a sidebar, but sure, maybe Trump didn't completely orchestrate the insurrection of the the ceremony saying that he certainly lost and Biden definitely won, but you know who did orchestrate it? The Proud Boys, the leader of the Proud Boys. It's like literal documents and text chains and shit of him planning to storm the Capitol. Like, Trump might not have organized it blatantly, but the people he pardoned did. A lot of the people he pardoned were part of it. Sure, there's some angry rioters that came in there and beat the shit out of some police and broke windows and stuff. And sure, there's some that just went in there and didn't really do anything. They just took selfies. If I trespass somewhere, I'm going to get arrested. I'm not going to look for Joe Biden to fucking pardon me. But to do it, to literally halt government proceedings it's literal insurrection. It's literal treason. Okay, yeah, that one's a good, easy one. What's next? Ceasing or pulling out of the World Health Organization is a pretty easy one to say. There's not really any gain to that after we just had a pandemic 4 years ago. There's like bird flu, there's avian flu cases that are infecting humans, and pulling out of the World Health Organization and halting U.S. communications with that organization means that we're not going to get international news of when variants of the bird flu infecting humans come out, or when mutations happen. So that's not a good one either, let alone like a global health initiative is pretty useful thing to do for the world. What's next? We're pulling out of all aid. A halting of all aid that U.S. does internationally. There's what do I gotta do? Cut down trees and clear grass. Do I have a scythe? Yeah, there's programs where the U.S. helps remove mines from countries. There's a lot of countries that we spread a lot of cluster munitions and mines around, and it's good to get rid of those so that children don't try and play with the little metal thing that blows them up. That's pretty important. Also, there was a order to halt administering, I believe, like, what is it? It's like AIDS vaccines that are even already distributed and at the country. And they said, no, don't even administer those ones. Just let them go bad. That's is that a woke agenda to stop AIDS and international diseases? It's almost like we're on a connected planet, and that pandemics and diseases can spread across country borders pretty easily. So it's like stopping the spread of disease in country A that's underfunded in a third world country might stop Americans from getting infected. The attack on DEI, as they call it, plant 6 crop seeds. Do I have crops? The attack on DEI is just this veiled attack on civil rights. There's empirical evidence that that minority communities have not the same resources as white ones. It's almost like there's this like thing that America did where they took certain people and enslaved them, and it's almost like then when they were let free, they sure weren't given a lot of money to do anything about bettering their position in the world. And in fact, there are these. Have you ever heard of redlining, where like banks won't give out loans to minorities in a certain area, and then they just let all the non-white communities get houses in these parts of town that have more pollution or are more flood risk prone, and these sorts of things. Environmental justice. What else? These communities have been repressed or oppressed for centuries of American rule. It'd be nice to help give them housing opportunities. That's getting taken away. That Trump's attacking civil rights. He's creating his own paramilitary organization. Remember the Proud Boys Stand By, Stand Down thing? I mean, and then they ended up organizing an insurrection, and then he pardoned them once he got in office. The firing of inspectors general is a clear attempt to allow corruption in the government. I feel like he's the exact guy that would really not like for somebody to call out any Republicans for corruption, because they seem like the party that loves to be corrupt, considering, what was it, like his last EPA chief in his first term was like, I don't know, using like American money just for his like flights around. I don't know. He was like clearly corrupted and kicked out of office. Where the hell do I find crops? What else was there going on? The attack on trans people as a government stance and Republican talking point for so long. It's almost like it's really nice to have scapegoats. It's almost like a fascist dictator that we all know in the past really had a fun time picking out a tiny community in its nation and blaming them for everything. Almost like the U.S. military, I don't know if it's a ban yet or like just a memo saying that they don't allow transitioning people and trans people to be in the military, and saying that they're going against the values of an effective fighting force. It's just, and then like only on government documents having, what is it? Like not recognizing trans as status or as people that exist. It's like, that's where you want to focus all the attention of the American people when you're trying to lead a nation, is you're going to put all this effort into attacking a minority group. Okay, that's great governing. what else is it? The deportations, the end of birthright citizenship, the attempt to end it, and an obvious attempt to challenge it in court on the fucking Supreme Court that's full of ultra conservative people who have repealed Roe v. Wade and affirmative action, and now there's like this ideology of America that it's a place and not a race. It's like it's not just like a cultural heritage or like I don't know, a sacred bloodline, and instead it's this place that exists. It's a land of the free, home of the brave. I remember, I don't know, all these talks about America being a melting pot, and that's so good, but now we need a scapegoat. Let's attack illegal immigrants. Or let's just attack immigrants, actually, because there's so many places that people are coming from that are facing legitimate refugee, legitimate in the eyes of the American government, asylum seeking, drug and gang violence that are persecuting people. I mean, I don't know, just literal war-torn countries now is probably, at this point, people getting turned away now. And they're in America waiting to get processed for a process that would most likely allow them to become American citizens. Just haven't been finalized yet. And now ICE and American agencies have to call them aliens. That might sound small on the surface, but what's the intent? If it's such a small thing, why did Trump do an executive order for it? It's to dehumanize immigrants. I don't know. It's bothering. It's upsetting. And it's all for the sake of what? Economic gain. Look at the Nvidia stocks. Trump's first big infrastructure act was to dump money into AI, just for like 4 days later AI markets to crash because China's doing it cheaper. So obviously maybe incentivizing streamlining it rather than just dumping money into it would have been something to do. Let's look at all the disruptions to NIH funding or something like that. I don't know. It's like a cease on all government grants that are given out, and Musk's attempt to increase government efficiency by getting rid of teleworking. It's all these attempts at these short-term, easy solutions that are easy wins, but in the long term just hurt the American people. That's the whole shtick. That's been his whole thing. I mean, stopping funding for grants and all the people who live off these grants. For example, I'm pretty sure I was funded through a couple national grants when I was working a previous job, and I sure wouldn't have been hired again if those grants were all of a sudden frozen for some reason. It's like there's these like lifelong staffers of international aid that are getting their jobs taken away, and all for what? It's a political stunt. It's not actually a comprehensive attempt to improve the economic situation of America. It's an attempt to get a small win for political favor, and just so much Americans cheered on and praised it as being strong. So it's strong-arming Colombia, just imposing tariffs on them because they put up a stance against the manner in which we perform, in which Trump performs deportations, and he's threatening to do tariffs on them and all that. And it's like, good job. You bullied a country that has a smaller GDP than America. What a strong man. Throwing tariffs on Canada and Mexico, saying he's going to do that in a couple days just to do it, even what's that accomplishing? They've already said that they're going to try and decrease illegal immigrations through their borders and increase their border security, and he's still just going to throw tariffs on them. That only hurts American people. If we threw tariffs on Colombia, we get a lot of coffee and other goods through them. It's just a thinly veiled attempt to show that he's strong. And then trying to say that Palestinians should just all leave their countries while it's rebuilt. Where the hell do I get crop seeds? I think I gotta find the crops. I mean, it's so funny that so many of the ultra-left speakers were criticizing the Democrats so furiously on not supporting Palestinians enough, and possibly didn't vote for the Democrats just for Trump to basically be a proponent of genocide. I mean, he's backing he's not. He removed sanctions from Palestinian settlers, or no, Israel settlers into Palestine, which is like the whole genocide thing of removing water and forcing Israelis into Palestinian territory for the sake of removing them as an ethnicity and community and nation. It's just a mess, dude. It's a mess. There's just the whole Republican Party is just loyalists. I mean, look at the confirmations. He claims that removing DEI initiatives creates a merit-based system. Meanwhile, he's just buttering up all the CEOs and giving them tax breaks and acting like that's him championing for the middle class. And then you've got all these Fox News pundits being promoted to high positions in Trump's cabinet. You have a Republican Party that only allows loyalty to Trump. Did you see what happened to any of the people that tried to impeach him for, I don't know, what was it, an insurrection or something? Maybe not. Was that 2 impeachments? I think he's impeached twice or attempted, right? Did one not get through by the end of his term? I can't remember. I'm just going to sell these flowers. I can't find any crops, so I'm wondering if I need, a farming person to come by. But it's just, they censored and removed a lot of Republican Party members from the party just because they went against Trump. And it's not even like the ultra MAGA is supporting, yes, I support everything Trump does, members of the Republican demographic are dying for these actions to be taken. It's just that the members in the party just want to hold on to power as much as they can, and so they just butter up to Trump as much as they can. Or else you just, okay, what about the Los Angeles fires? Okay, so that's a fun one. Remember when hurricane whatever the hell happened this year, and or I guess last year now, and there's this giant Republican talking point and Trump talking point that Biden was unfairly distributing FEMA resources to hurricane victims. Meanwhile, he's literally just flat out saying that the Los Angeles fires are all because some valve wasn't turned, and that he's going to set conditions for disaster relief for California. Meanwhile, that's what they accuse Biden's agency of doing. Not even and now he goes out and does it, and it's him being strong. It's just blatant hypocrisy, and it's just short-sighted talking points and gains. We're gonna strong-arm Colombia into letting us deport our people there in military aircraft, and now Colombia is gonna go to China for more trade. And what's that gain? It's a news cycle talking point win, but it's a long-term loss for America. And it's just that over and over again between civil rights, economic status, cultural talking points. I don't know. I could have sat down and researched these points and had sources and laid out a direct plan of my grievances, but that's not what we're here for. I'm just playing Dinkum. And I just got a lot on my mind. That's what this whole thing has been about. It's just I have a lot on my mind. Like, Elon Musk's, that's what I was trying to say, like Elon Musk's creating more efficiency in the government by having telework not exist federally. There's a lot of people, like, there's these jobs for the state that I could have worked for where I could telework because the majority of my time doing work would be field work. So why would I need an office space? Now we're going to be paying as a country for office space for these positions just for the people to still not use them. There's a reason why even in major companies, telework's become so adopted. It's more efficient in a lot of cases. Sure, not for every single position, but there's a lot of positions that you really don't need to come in for an office for. And it's just, again, a short win sort of agenda opportunity. You know, it's without actually trying to address the issues at hand, the structural problems, because that actually takes critical thinking, which doesn't sound good in your rallies, is what it comes down to. It's, I mean, remember the whole attack on Biden for being old? Now Trump's like the oldest inaugurated president. What happened to that? It's like every talking point attack against Biden, they just turn around and do it themselves. And it's like, sure, I think the Democratic Party's pretty trash, but at least they aren't attacking civil rights and trying to use entire minority communities as scapegoats to further their agenda, and also condoning political violence. Remember when there were assassination attempts against Trump and everyone's like, no political violence in America? The Democrats were even saying that. But then there's a armed mob that storms the Capitol and beats the hell out of police officers, and now that's okay, that's pardoned, that's fine. I know it's all gonna bite Trump and the Republican Party in the ass in the long term, but right now it's just like, I'm just upset that America let this happen. I mean, it's disgusting. It's repulsive to me. Like, you can argue that the Democrats did a terrible job at an economic agenda or this or that, but to then turn around and say that Trump's doing a great job and not also a narcissistic lunatic maniac and slowly turning, maybe rapidly turning, decrepit white nationalist man that has no place in the seat of a president of America. I mean, those things don't have to be opposed. It doesn't have to be a dichotomy. And again, one side's just targeting the LGBT plus community and the Latino community and the Hispanic community and the immigrant community, while another just didn't put in a couple laws that you wanted in, or had to recover from a pandemic, and so inflation happened while they were in office. And also still are oftentimes a lot trash. Sure, Democrats can be pretty trash, but at least they're not white nationalist wannabe fascists. It's really funny to me that, like, Trump said that he could stop the Ukraine war in a day, and now all of a sudden, like, Russia says, hey, sure, put your sanctions on us, we're still going to try and win this war we're in. It's like, it's just going to be 4 years of the pen hitting the road and falling flat, but then having short-term news cycle wins because he's a reality TV star. He's literally the media. He hates media, so I don't know. I just had to put in my 2 cents because it's the very least that I can do right now. Subscribe. I'll catch y'all later. We won't do this all the time. Just had to get it out of the system. It's been boiling this past week. And I just had to do something. This will do for now. Speak up, you know. Act. If you just sit by and passively watch, nothing's gonna happen that you want to happen. But a lot of stuff you don't want to see happen might happen. Catch y'all on the flip. Love you, bye.